Hello, and welcome back to our weekly astrology podcast where we meet every Thursday. We get cozy, we light our candles, and we talk all things cosmos. I am your host, Sarah Posh, astrologer and coach. In today's episode of Cozy with the Cosmos, we are going to cover the October 6th Aries Full Moon. This is the culmination point of our current lunar cycle that started with that Virgo new moon partial solar eclipse on September 21st. If you want to learn more about what that eclipse was about and some of the deeper astrology forecasts for the beginning of this lunar cycle, make sure to check out that episode on the channel. Before we dive into each rising sign horoscope and tarot card pull, I'm going to set the stage with some astrological significations that I see as forming a sort of spider web of secret alliances intended to push some of the shadow revelations from that recent Virgo partial solar eclipse into uncomfortable action at the time of this Aries full moon. So make sure to stay tuned at the beginning of this episode so that you can understand where the horoscope interpretations are coming from for your rising sign. And of course, these horoscopes, they're based off of your rising sign because that's going to be the most specific to the context of your chart and the different places of these significations that I'm going to talk about. And also, if you feel inspired and interested, I encourage you, listen to your sun sign, your rising sign, and maybe even your moon sign. It's totally up to you. Always just receive what resonates and leave the rest. So let's dive into some of these secret alliances, this spider web formation that's happening during this Aries full moon. So go ahead, get cozy, get comfortable, and let's talk cosmos. The first astrological secret signification is the Aries and Virgo kind of hidden secret relationship called an antisha. In astrology, an antisha is a shadow or mirror image relationship of a planet's degree in the zodiac, reflecting across the Cancer-Capricorn solstice axis. It has this reflective symmetry that forms a relationship between signs that naturally don't have an aspectual relationship. They're in what we call an aversion in traditional astrology. However, they correspond to the same amount of sunlight and moonlight at different times of the year. So there's different antisha partners, and you can see that here on this chart on the screen. And it just so happens that Aries and Virgo are in this secret antisha relationship. It gives us this understanding that there is this sort of hidden connection point between these two signs. This means that whatever shadows have been revealed, whatever major new beginnings, major changes in plot lines and character identity or purpose that the Virgo eclipse initiated 2 weeks ago, the Aries full moon is pointing to this secret connection, this secret place and influence where it's really being pushed to act out and bring kind of to the stage of life those things that have been revealed with the eclipse. And so in the horoscopes, I'm going to present the Aries place of your chart as sort of this hidden doorway where if you're willing to take some uncomfortable new action, acting from this place of this new understanding, this new sense of self, this could be a way to really integrate and empower the revelations that have been uncovered since the eclipse showed us. The second thread of support for this Aries full moon is that the ruler and host of the full moon is Mars, who is currently in Scorpio, in an aversion to Aries. This means that there isn't a traditional aspect or a direct line of communication or sight from Mars, the host, to the Aries full moon. However, because Mars rules both Aries and Scorpio, it has a secret ability to resource and dignify what's happening in Aries and that Aries part of our chart. And the third secret influence is that at the time of the Aries full moon on that same day, we're going to have the planet Mercury also entering into Scorpio and reactivating that recent square that we had between Mars in Scorpio and Pluto in Aquarius. That was back on September 24th. And the reason this is important is because whatever we felt during the square between Mars and Pluto, whatever new level of activation of personal power or turning point in accessing and asserting our personal power, it's like now Mercury arrives and is able to translate an even deeper layer of understanding and announce an even better strategy for Mars and this Aries full moon. And then I want to invite you into this kind of final layer of the spider weaving this web of secret alliance together. I was thinking about the fact that we're talking about a lunar cycle, and this lunar cycle started with a new moon at 29 degrees Virgo. That was a solar eclipse. That means that part of the sun's light was actually eclipsed by the shadow of the moon. And when we get to the point of this Aries full moon, the sun is now in its fall in Libra, so in its place of least amount of dignity. And it's also marking this culmination point, this peak point and turning point in this lunar cycle that started with that eclipse. Except for the thing that this full moon is giving this sun that just went through this eclipse, it's giving it a dignity through reception. Aries is the sign of the sun's exaltation. It's the place where our sense of self, our ego, the individuality has its greatest strength. When the sun reaches Aries season, it's reaching this turning point in the seasons from this equal day and night, a turn towards maximum light, where there's more and more time of the day for the sun to take the stage of the sky. So the sun is exalted. The sun has the most stage, the most prominence. And so this additional hidden layer, this secret alliance woven into this web, is like there's a part of us, our solar identity, that has been partially eclipsed. And we're either reintegrating the part, the shadow that we're recognizing was eclipsed because of previous experience or conditioning, and integrating it back into a more holistic sense of self. Or maybe we're releasing an outdated sense of identity, a conditioned sense of self that we bought into a misunderstanding that that's who we needed to be if we were going to take up any stage in the sky of our life. Either way, this Aries full moon is pointing to this place in the chart where the sun has an opportunity to reveal itself in a place of exaltation. And so that's where I'm really feeling this push, this invitation to take that uncomfortable action and to do it in this way that feels like it's revealing, almost like an exalted revelation of an unmasking of this true sense of self that we're coming into greater terms with, or we're coming into a greater sense of commitment to follow through and own and show and enact in our day-to-day life. This Aries full moon is this sun in Libra's one chance to really let you show yourself and show your life this new plot line, this new character that's going to be leading the new plot line of these major beginnings in your life. You're the one setting the stage. You're the one showing everybody this is what they can expect from you. We will close each rising sign horoscope by pulling one tarot card and letting that be your final message for this Aries full moon. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel so much. And make sure you have those notifications turned on so that you never miss a new episode that comes out every Thursday. With that, I think we're ready to dive in. Let's get started with these Aries full moon horoscopes with Aries and Aries Rising. All right, Aries, this Aries full moon is happening in your first house. It's a full moon in the house that has only to do with you, the only house in the entire chart that is all and solely about you. This is the place that has to do with our identity, our sense of vitality and purpose and life direction. It's also how we enter a room, the first impressions that we make, the lasting impressions that we leave when we leave a room. What has been coming up since that Virgo partial solar eclipse in your 6th house on September 21st? Some shadows that have been revealed, some major turning points around the patterns that need to come to a close in relationship to how you are feeling in your day-to-day grind, your work. How are your systems, your structures, your boundaries? Are you feeling like you're out of balance or overwhelmed in those 6th house areas? And what's the hidden relationship between you deciding to show up and identify yourself as different, walking in with a different persona, kind of putting on a new hat of self that says, suddenly I'm a person who knows how to handle my business, who knows how to set boundaries, who knows how to prioritize myself and the things on my to-do list. And I can get it done without feeling overwhelmed or feeling like I'm leaking my energy everywhere. So Aries, what are you ready to step into when it comes to you? What would be an uncomfortable action that you could take at the time of this Aries full moon that would show you that you're ready for these major new beginnings? And how is your courage to start showing up in uncomfortable ways being empowered and resourced by any recent developments, any recent activations around your power dynamics in your exchanges with others? So the contracts that you get in with others, the agreements and exchanges of what I give and what I take, what I agree to in these negotiations. What major turning point have you taken there? What are you realizing you're ready to announce and kind of renegotiate in these terms of agreement? And how is that empowering you to take that uncomfortable action, to show up and be this new version, this new era of Aries? Think about how showing up in this empowered, sovereign way, taking this new uncomfortable action when you walk into a room, maybe everybody's like, whoa, where did Aries come from? I've never seen Aries show up like that before. How is that resourcing your clarity around the standards of exchange that you're ready to step into? How can you resource and leverage that new sense of empowerment, or maybe even deeper desire of what it is that you really want when it comes to those exchanges, what you're ready to let go of and move into something new, something fresh? All right, Aries, that's your horoscope. Let's go ahead and pull your tarot card. We've got 2 cards, Aries Rising. Wow, okay. Both cards came out upright. They're both major arcana. So these are major life changes. And we have the Fool card and the High Priestess. So these cards coming out together, it's very interesting because both cards speak to this intuitive action. The Fool card is the very beginning, the 0 point of every new adventure, new beginning, new life story. He's standing at the edge of a cliff and he's looking out, he's looking up, and he's going to take the risk. He's going to take the leap. So Aries, this is telling you it's time to take the leap. And you have this little dog next to you. And in the Fool card, that represents this protection of our allies and also our instincts. Aries, this is asking you to trust you're going to get through any of the unknown if you rely on trusting your instincts. If you're willing to take a risk and kind of jump and let the new net appear, let the new life appear. The High Priestess is about tapping into your intuition. Again, this came out upright. So there's tapping into this inner knowing, this inner vision, and kind of tuning out the noise or the distraction of the logical mind, of the reason mind. This is about tapping into whatever it is that helps you get into the imaginal space, the dream space, and also that quiet, wise voice within. The one that's not shouting, don't go here, or make sure you do this. It's like there's some quiet voice that you're starting to get more comfortable with listening to. And this is the moment during this Aries full moon that you need to take the risk. You need to take the leap. You need to start something new with the Fool card. And you also need to trust that if you listen to your intuition and you trust the protection of your natural instincts, you're an Aries rising, that you'll be good. You'll be so good. Just let yourself start. Aries Rising, how did this resonate? Comment below. Let me know. Did either of these cards feel stronger than the other, or any of the horoscope messages? How are you feeling? Are you aware of what the new identity is? What is that main character? I want to hear about it. Comment below. Okay, Taurus Rising, you're up. Taurus Rising, this Aries full moon is happening in your 12th house. The place of Saturn's joy, the place where we go for rest, retreat, solitude. It's also our blind spot, our place of unconscious self-undoing patterns, some of those hidden fears or limiting beliefs that hide from us, but somehow take us off course. This Aries full moon is asking you, what have you started to unravel? What shadows have become unsurfaced since that Virgo partial solar eclipse related to your fifth house of creativity, of joy, of pleasure? What is it that you're realizing needs to be eclipsed in this area? How are you ready to start a major new beginning, a major chapter and turning point related to your creative life, related to the part of you that needs to feel joy, that needs to have fun, and just have pleasure? That's a really important part of our human existence, right? And there's this hidden connection between the revelations you've had since that Virgo new moon partial solar eclipse in that fifth house of creativity, and your need to take new uncomfortable action with regards to the 12th house. So this means, Taurus Rising, you actually need to prove that you're ready for a major new beginning by taking a full break, a full step away from the everyday, going into the inner world, the inner sanctuary. When's the last time you took a vacation? When's the last time you put your to-do list somewhere that wasn't right next to you when you woke up in the morning? And also, when is the last time that you did some of that deeper inner reflective work around some of the hidden blind spots or self-undoing patterns that keep you from living a more creatively fulfilled life? Again, this is about taking action actually through inaction, Taurus Rising. So this Aries full moon is asking you to take a step away, to take a break, and to be brave and bold and do it, even though there's a part of you that's so scared because you've never been the person to do that before. Well, now's the time to do it. There's also something for you, Taurus Rising, being resourced in your one-on-one relationships. How have there been some sort of power dynamics, power struggles, or power shifts when it comes to your one-on-one partnerships? Is there somebody that's been introduced that's activated something in you, that's giving you a major turning point in connecting to a deeper level of your personal power? And how can you resource that? How can you leverage the people that you're in relationship with that actually empower you to step away when you need to step away, that give you permission to be the one that needs to take a break sometimes? It feels like there's this hidden announcement, this hidden negotiation around when you can rely on people and giving yourself permission to rely and delegate and not do everything yourself. And that new level of power dynamic in partnership is what's going to leverage you to show up differently for yourself and really give yourself permission to take that break. Okay, Taurus, let's pull your card. So Taurus, your cards, there's two of them. They both came out reversed, and they're actually really good cards if you just decide to turn them upright. The two cards are the Two of Cups reversed, and then also the Ace of Wands reversed. So I'm going to go ahead and turn these upright just so you can see them. And so the Two of Cups in the tarot is like the ultimate like soulmate lovers card. This is about two people coming into equal partnership and sharing and exchanging in this mutual reciprocity. It feels like a divine soulmate connection. And the fact that it came out reversed is that there's still something that you need to work out, that is either this sense of fear of trusting relationship and partnership. Like, are you scared to share your cup and receive somebody else's cup in return? Are you scared to give your cup away? And then also the Ace of Wands, it's one of the best. It's the spark of all creation, the spark of all beginnings. It's lighting the match for all new inspiration, new ideas, where all things begin. But when it's reversed, it means that we've got a match that we can't light. So maybe it's like we ran out of lighter fluid because we haven't rested enough, or because we haven't asked for enough help. Taurus Rising, the message feels pretty clear that the more that you're willing to step into trusting the partnerships that empower you, trusting that you don't have to do it all yourself, and maybe there's some sort of new partnership that you can kind of start this new venture with. How could starting something new with somebody that you trust and take that uncomfortable action in this way actually give you permission and more space to take the time to rest as well. So Taurus Rising, I hope that this message serves you well. Let me know. Comment below and tell me how this resonated or what it brought up for you. And if you're going to take that uncomfortable action at this Aries full moon, to give yourself a break. All right, Gemini Rising, you're up next. So for you, Geminis, this Aries full moon is happening in your 11th house. The house of allies, friends, benefactors, the house of good spirits. It's the place where we go for our hopes, our visions, our ambitions for the future, our future goals. Where are you being pushed because of recent developments and maybe some shadows that have been uncovered related to topics of your 4th house? This Virgo partial solar eclipse unearthed the deepest part of your chart, some of the things that are still standing in the way of your major new beginnings related to the plot line barriers connected to your ancestral karma, ancestral roots, and lineage. What did this eclipse show you needs to be eclipsed? The shadow work that needs to be addressed and released from your inherited karma, your relationship to your family members, your parents, what you call home, or the place that you come from. There's something here that's become more and more clear on how it's been influencing you or preventing you from stepping into a more aligned or exciting new beginning, a new chapter of life, a new version of yourself related to those 4th house themes. And this Aries full moon, there's this hidden opportunity for you to step out and take uncomfortable action and show up in a new way when it comes to connecting with new groups of friends, connecting to new social networks, connecting to bigger possibilities of hopes, of visions. It's like, was there somebody in your childhood that kind of put just this dark cloud on your ability to feel hopeful about the future? And is this Aries full moon asking you to get rid of the freaking cloud of the past or of somebody that came before you, of that inheritance of worry, of doom, of gloom? Gemini, this is about giving yourself permission to get uncomfortable through getting hopeful in new ways, and also extending yourself and reaching out to resource the people who are in alliance with the things that you want to start giving yourself permission to believe in. The place where you're tapping into this sort of secret resource or deeper understanding has to do with your 6th house, your daily grind, your systems, your structures, your relationship to your body and your body health, or the dis-ease of your body. So what is it that you're realizing and coming into a better, healthier, more empowered relationship around honoring your boundaries in the day-to-day? Around going kind of boss mode when it comes to structuring your days, your daily habits, and your systems and your structures. What is it, Gemini Rising, that you've reached some sort of major turning point and a deeper understanding around how you want to take your power back, or maybe how you've been draining your energy or draining your power in your approach to your day-to-day lives? Have you been feeling overwhelmed by all of the day-to-day to-dos or struggles? Are you learning something about not having to do it all yourself? Maybe delegating, getting some help, or outsourcing for some of those 6th house things? All right, Gemini, let's go ahead and pull your card. So for Gemini, we have 3 cards. We've got the Queen of Wands upright. We've got the Ace of Swords reversed. And then we also have the Knight of Pentacles reversed. So this feels like indecision is leading you to feel stuck. The Knight of Pentacles is one of the knights that is the slowest moving knights. Its progress is slow and enduring. It's about perseverance. It's about patience and consistency. Is there something, Gemini Rising, that you're feeling indecisive about starting because you're afraid of how long it might take, or the resources it might require to actually follow through and bring it to completion? With the Queen of Wands upright, This is telling you that whatever idea you have, you've already reached some sort of stage of mastery with something, right? At the point of the Queen, there's this idea, there's this skill, there's this inspiration. There's something that you have or you're holding creatively that you want to bring into form, and you've come to a level where it's time to caretake it. It's time to bring it to a stage of really nurturing it and starting to share it with others, starting to take it almost like seriously as your own, right? But there's something blocking you from that. There's something blocking you from receiving that collaborative help. This is about really tapping into the resource of relationship with the Queen of Wands, of other people who share your inspiration, who are your hype people, the people who are going to encourage you. It doesn't matter how long it takes. If it really matters to you, once you make the decision and you actually just go all in, even though it's uncomfortable and you don't know how long it's going to take, once you go all in, the people you need to nurture with you and for you that idea, it will come into fruition. But you have to get uncomfortable, you have to ask for help, and you have to be willing to start somewhere without knowing how long it's going to take or how exactly you're going to get there. Gemini Rising, how does that resonate? Comment below. Tell me how you're feeling during this Aries full moon. Are you feeling this culmination point? And how is it related to your Virgo 4th house? Like, how is your family connected to all of this? I'm so curious. Let me know in the comments below. Okay, Cancer and Cancer Rising. This Aries full moon is asking for you to step into the world, to take uncomfortable action and reveal this new sense of self and your 10th house of career, the place of your legacy, your vocation, and how you want to be recognized in the world, what you want to be recognized for. There's something shadowy that's been uncovered. There's some new understanding or revelation that's come to the surface since that Virgo partial solar eclipse around themes related to your 3rd house. So the ways that you relate to your day-to-day rhythms and rituals, the ways that you exchange information and communicate with others. The 3rd house also has to do about how we show up in peer relationships or sibling relationships, and the place where we really begin any kind of new skill development. And I like to think about that relationship to the peers and the siblings with that same topic, because it's usually in those relations where we have this sort of sense of, hopefully, healthy competition that push us to strive to individuate, to push ourselves to build a sense of skill development that leads to a greater sense of self and self-confidence. And there's been something that's been revealed here, something this eclipse is asking you to say. There's some long-standing pattern that you're ready to bring to an end or find some closure so that you can really step into these major new beginnings. And the way that you show up, this hidden stage for you to take uncomfortable action to prove you're ready for the major new beginnings, is by stepping out into the 10th house career in this brand new way. So how are you being asked at this Aries full moon, or how are you ready? What uncomfortable action can you take to reveal this new sense of self to the world, really? And for you, there's this hidden resource supporting you coming from your 5th house of creativity, of creative self-expression, of the passion that comes from within you to create just for the sake of creating. It gives you pleasure in the process of the creation. The 5th house also has to do with our hobbies, the things that we do for enjoyment, pleasure, fun, our children or creative children. It's like anything that comes from us that is an extension of our true, authentic passion or inspiration or sense of self. There's a major turning point about you reclaiming a new level of personal power and your relationship to this area of your chart. There's a deeper layer of understanding that's coming up around the time of this Aries full moon that's giving you that extra push of confidence to really advocate on stepping into your 10th house in these new exciting ways, and these probably a little bit uncomfortable as well. So think about, what is it that you've come to terms with, or what turning point have you crossed since that Mars and Pluto square and now Mercury coming into Pluto, where you're ready to really claim something on a deeper level when it comes to your creative power and your creative potential. Okay, Cancer Rising, let's pull your card. You got the Star card. It actually came out reversed, which is really interesting. There's some sort of healing moment that's waiting to happen, either because you're not giving yourself permission to like fully step away and receive that restoration, that healing. The parts of this eclipse cycle that, of opposition to Saturn, it's saying there's going to be some things that are going to take some time to fully close, some chapters that won't just close overnight. It's going to take some time. But is that preventing you from allowing yourself to really move into this rejuvenation of the Star card? This is also saying that maybe there's a part of you that isn't really tapping into the reciprocity of what you have to give to the world, like the work that you're giving to the world or that you want to do in the world or you want to be known for in the world. Are you tapping into the greater collective good and impact that could have? Is there some way that could be inspiring you to push you into taking that uncomfortable action, to stepping out into the world and revealing yourself in new ways, to be more confident, even if you're scared on the inside? There's something about tapping into the greater good for the collective, coming back to that greater purpose, that greater inspiration and hope for the ripple effect that it can have on the collective. But give yourself permission, take that break, check in and reflect. What is it that you need to do to get from a place of preventing that healing, that restoration, that coming into the hope? What is it that you need to do to get back into that so that you can pour into your work, you can pour your creativity into the world and create a ripple effect that we'll all benefit from? Comment below, let me know what resonated, how are you feeling? Are there big things happening in career? Is there a new persona that you're scared but it's calling you forward in this area? Okay, Cancer Rising, comment below. Let me know how you're feeling. I want to hear, how are my Cancer Risings? Where are you at? Next, we're going to move in to our Leo Risings. Leo Risings, this Aries full moon is calling you to take some uncomfortable, bold, new action in your 9th house of answering the call, of stepping into a stage of mastery, stepping into a position as teacher, maybe putting some of your writing or your work out into the public. So publishing your writing or putting yourself out through a podcast, putting yourself out more as a wisdom holder or connecting more to a new teacher. Is there a new teacher or a new study that you want to call in? Is there something that you feel this sense of passion or purpose? Maybe there's a little bit of something you have a natural gift for, or you feel a natural calling or passion towards, but you haven't really given yourself permission to fully go all in and investing on learning a deeper level of mastery. It's either about developing that mastery that makes you uncomfortable and owning that, or it's about owning and sharing that mastery in a way that makes you uncomfortable. And Leo Rising, how is this somehow related to whatever that Virgo partial solar eclipse has revealed to you is outdated, needs to come to an end, a long-standing pattern that's standing in the way of these major new beginnings related to your 2nd house of livelihood, the place where we make money and resource ourselves in order to feel supported to live the life that we truly want to live, to move in the direction that feeds our purpose. What is this eclipse asking you need to let go of? You need to eclipse, whether it's a belief, a scarcity mindset. There's something related to stepping into this new sense of self, this new sense of relationship to your ability to resource yourself, to establish that strong sense of support and livelihood in your life, to know that you can depend on that really wants you in this kind of secret way to prove it by taking that uncomfortable action, by revealing yourself in new ways or stepping up more confidently in that 9th house. And there's been some sort of turning point for you, Leo Rising, in your Scorpio fourth house. So this Mars-Pluto square and now Mercury in Scorpio giving you an even deeper understanding and layer of where you've previously given your power away to fourth house matters of where you come from, the story of your ancestry, your family karma, your lineage. Is there something about your past, your family relationships, or the place where you come from? Or maybe even your relationship to defining security, like emotional security within yourself. Have you recently turned a corner in realizing that you are your greatest resource to create that sense of internal emotional security? Are you reclaiming a new sense of power around your ability to do that for yourself? Almost like a coming home to yourself in a deeper, more empowered way. And how is that connection to your deepest self, your sense of emotional security, and also your sense of connection to that inner sanctuary? How is that secretly resourcing and supporting you to really step forward in that ninth house, to say yes to the long journey, to follow through on answering that call or what feels like a calling, to step out of your comfort zone, to take uncomfortable action, and to maybe take this stage as a wisdom holder and teacher? All right, Leo Rising, let's pull your card. Leo Rising, the Ace of Swords jumped out for you upright. Babe. You're being offered this crowned sword of intellect, of decision, of communication. This to me feels like you're meant to take the hand of inspiration, take the hand of trust, and also to take whatever new ideas you have or whatever it is that you have to share. Like, you have wisdom to share, Leo Rising, and you have a very unique way to share it. But is there a part of you that's scared to do it because it hasn't been done that way before? We need you, Leo Rising, to show us this new sword, show us this new idea, take a leap of faith, follow through on it. You have everything you need to get started. So this is beautiful. I love this for you, Leo Rising. I want to hear in the comments, how did that resonate, Leo Rising? How are you feeling at this Aries full moon? What parts of those ninth house really feel the most relatable? All right, Virgo and Virgo Rising, this Aries full moon is pushing you to take new uncomfortable action, to show up in new ways in your eighth house of other people's resources, of the place where we exchange resources with others. So when we come to contract and collaboration, when we come into this agreement of what we are willing to give in exchange for what we're willing to receive. It's also the place of taxes and debts and inheritances, whether that's taking out a loan for something or asking for somebody to invest in something that you care about, or maybe it's paying off and finally closing out a debt. The eighth house is also the place where we experience all of the messy feelings in the spaces of major change. So this is called the idle place, the place that I think and call the space between. When we're in the space, not quite yet of what will be, and also not what was. We're in this in-between, messy, unknown territory that requires a deep level of trust in the impermanence and the unknown in that in-between state. So Virgos, what is it that the partial solar eclipse, that new moon in your first house, what shadows were uncovered? What was revealed to you about the layers of identity of self? The first house has to do with how we take care of ourselves, how we relate to ourselves, and also how we introduce ourselves moment to moment in the world. So what is it that this eclipse is showing you is still standing in the way from you stepping into these major new beginnings? Are there echoes from your past, these shadows that are coming up, asking to be reintegrated into your sense of self as you move forward? Or maybe there's some sort of baggage around how you identify or how you feel comfortable presenting yourself when you enter a room that you're ready to release, you're ready to eclipse. Virgo, how is it that you can prove that you're ready for these major new beginnings, that you're ready to let go of what no longer serves you when it comes to the ways that you relate to yourself and the way that you share yourself with the world in your eighth house of exchanges with others? Is there an uncomfortable new standard of agreement that you're going to set when you go into a negotiation? Is there a certain exchange that you're willing to release? What is it that you're really connecting to when it comes to this eighth house that is asking or inviting you and encouraging you, if I did really own myself in this new way that this eclipse has showed is possible, what would this version of me, how would they enter into these agreements? What would they agree to or not agree to? Who would they reach out for resource or not reach out? So what are those exchanges and what's uncomfortable for you, but how can you push yourself to get uncomfortable and show up in new ways so that you can really activate these major new beginnings of this eclipse cycle? And there's something with you, Virgo rising. There's been a turning point in relationship to your power that's this hidden resource. It's really, resourcing you and supporting you to show up in these new ways in those eighth house contract negotiations and exchanges, surrounding the changes and the turning points related to your third house. So this has to do with how you navigate communication. This has to do with your day-to-day rhythms and rituals. What you do when you wake up, everything you do in between, and then how you go to bed. What are your boundaries like in your schedule? How are you reclaiming power by letting go of what drains your energy and your power in your day-to-day? It also has to do with relationships to people like our siblings or our peer friendships. And I really like to think about the third house as this place of new skill development or beginning something new. And those relationships, the friendships or the peer relationships that really kind of challenge us and push us in this like healthy competitive way to develop ourselves even more. It's a healthy competition to prove to ourselves or to learn and develop more of ourselves, develop more of our self-confidence through developing that skill. So you're kind of challenging each other. Like, I do this, you do that. Ooh, it's pushing me a little bit. So what is it that's empowering you, or what relationships are you gaining more power to push you forward because of that healthy, like, we're doing this together, we're accountability buddies, or we're challenging and pushing each other? Or maybe there's something about communication patterns or the way that you navigate communication or even, process information. There's something you're reclaiming power here, and this is your secret ally, your secret resource. The more you tap into reclaiming your power and those new skills or those new relationships you're developing, the more you're going to leverage that to take that bold, new, uncomfortable action when it comes to engaging with these eighth house exchanges. All right, Virgo rising, that's your horoscope. Let's go ahead. Let's pull your card. You got 3 cards. I will say I am proud of you. Something has shifted because the middle card is the Magician and it's upright. If you were here for our horoscope episode for the Pisces eclipse, that last full moon, you would know that the Virgos and Virgo risings had the Magician reversed, and we talked a lot about reclaiming the power you're not owning. So looks like you've done that. Looks like you're stepping back into your power as a creator, using the power of your focus and your willpower to access your mind and your resources to bring things into form, into manifestation. So the other 2 cards that came out surrounding that Magician, these feel like they're kind of your final layers of baggage. Or maybe since you've stepped into that Magician power, these things have come into focus. And they both came out reversed. So one is the 9 of Cups reversed, and the other is the Devil reversed. So this is really interesting. There's some sort of unhealthy attachment that's not being recognized. I could also see this being a fear of unhealthy attachment when it comes to partnership, because in the Devil card are these lovers that are chained to the Devil. So that talks about like codependency or unhealthy relational dynamics and attachments. Because of everything else we've been talking about, and because of everything that these eclipses are highlighting on that first 7th axis, It's either on the side of the spectrum where you need to acknowledge what relationships are unhealthy attachments, like what relationships you're still in denial and telling yourself, no, this is good. Like, I really love this person and it can work out. But like that denial is just keeping you chained, and you can take your power back by letting that go. Or you can let go of the fear of allowing yourself healthy relational dependence, allowing yourself that chance to really call in and accept and leverage help from others. If it's unhealthy attachments, let it go so the good can come in. If it's healthy attachments, let your fears go so that they can help you. Because the Nine of Cups reversed, this is like the wish come true card. This is literally, this person is sitting in the center with their arms crossed, and all of the cups are just stacked in like a rainbow arc above him. He's not doing anything. He's sitting, he's resting, he's receiving. There's something about allowing yourself to feel a sense of satisfaction. Like there is something that has worked out. There is something that has been received or a manifestation. Are you focusing so much on like the weight of getting somewhere or making something happen? I mean, yes, we want you to tap into the magician. I want you to be in your creative power. But part of this power is also tapping into this energy of more than enough. Looking back to all the times when you were fully in your power and you manifested successfully and you got to this place where you just fully enjoyed the space of being there, of that arrival. This is feeling like you need to give yourself permission to stop the grind, stop the hustle for a second, and come into a state of receiving mode. Stepping back, letting yourself reflect even on past successes of reaching a certain goal or reaching a certain level of receiving. Virgos, how does that connect? How does that resonate? What messages really stand out for you? How are you feeling the energy of this Aries full moon connected to that Virgo eclipse in your first house? Are you feeling like you're ready for this change? Comment below. I want to hear from my Virgos. Tell me how you're feeling. Tell me what resonates. And next we're going to move to our Libras, our Libra Risings. So Libra Risings, this Aries full moon, it's asking you to take some new uncomfortable action when it comes to showing up in your relationships. What is it that the Virgo partial solar eclipse in your 12th house started to reveal to you some of these shadows or these patterns of self-undoing, these long-standing karmic loops that are standing in the way of you really stepping into a major new beginning when it comes to those 12th house matters? Is there some sort of just ancient limiting belief? Is there some sort of looping pattern of judgment or unhealthy perfectionism, either upon yourself or maybe projected into your Aries 7th house of relationships? How are you seeing something that before was previously a blind spot? What is it that the Virgo eclipse has brought to light in a new way? And what is it asking you to bring to a close? There's something here for you, Libra Risings, around some old self-limiting belief, some self-limiting pattern that now it's time for you to cut it loose, to eclipse that baggage, to let it go for good, to accept these major new beginnings. And the way you do this is by taking this uncomfortable, bold, new action, showing up as a new version of you that doesn't carry that baggage, that doesn't buy in to those limiting beliefs in your committed partnerships. So what is that, Libra Rising? Who in your life, what's happening in your relationships, and where are you being called, or how are you being called to show up in a new way? And maybe, Libra Rising, part of the uncomfortable new version of yourself or the new action that you take in relationships has to do with letting yourself believe and receive the messiness of healthy relationship dynamics. Maybe it's about acknowledging what's already here, what's already good. That Virgo 12th house, that self-undoing, a lot of times it's about that unhealthy negativity bias that creates this unconscious sense of self-protection but it actually prevents us from going deeper into healthy intimacy and connection. So maybe part of getting uncomfortable is letting it get messy or revealing a messier part of yourself. What is it that you're going to do or ask for in your relationships that can really call yourself forward, that can really prove to yourself you're ready to move forward, you're ready for these major new beginnings? And for you, Libras, you can resource this secret support system from this new reclamation of power around your understanding of your ability to support yourself. What is it that this Mars, Pluto, and now Mercury and Scorpio, this turning point of reclaiming your power when it comes to your second house of livelihood, of resources? Is there some new turning point and kind of ownership of yourself as a resource, like what you bring to the table? So how is your self-worth? How is your ability to trust yourself, to depend on yourself? And how can you resource that to show up courageously in new ways, in bold, uncomfortable ways in your one-on-one partnerships? Libra Risings, there's an opportunity not only for you to own what you bring to the table, but also to own what it is that you really need to feel resourced, and how it's okay to ask for what that is from your people, from your partners. Your seventh and second house are intimately connected. They're both ruled by Mars. And so the more that you show up and really claim what it is that you want, what it is that you need, how you put your desires, your pleasures first in your relationships, and you communicate that directly with that Aries 7th house, the more that you're actually showing up for yourself, the more that you're providing that sense of resourcing and showing that you can depend on yourself to feel like you're getting your needs met. Okay, Libra Rising, let's pull your tarot card. Libra Rising, you had one card jump out, and it is the Hanged Man upright. This is about seeing things from a new perspective. This is about literally, maybe you need to go do a handstand or a headstand against the wall, or even, lay your head upside down off of a bed or a couch. Put yourself in a position to give yourself permission in a rested state of contemplation from an entirely different perspective. This is asking you to pause, to take that step away, to let yourself rest in the space in between, and to let go of your idea of certainty or control, to take a break from taking any decisive action, and more so come into that space of observation, but putting your observation on with an upside down brain. You need to let yourself see things from a new perspective. And the more you let yourself do that, the more you don't try to fix anything, the more you don't try to just diagnose anything with that Virgo 12th house, and you kind of like let it be revealed to you what actually is happening or what actually could be possible. Maybe there's something new you'll see. And maybe there's something new you'll give yourself permission to feel and experience, both within yourself and in your one-on-one relationships. Libra Rising, how does that resonate? What are you feeling after this reading? How are you feeling during this Aries full moon week? I want to hear. Comment below. Tell me what resonates. What's happening on the relationship front? How is it related to the shadow work you're doing in the 12th house? And what are you eclipsing, babe? What are you letting go? What are you leaving behind so that you can really step into this major new beginning? Scorpio Risings, this Aries full moon is calling you to really enact all of the awareness that's been uncovered from this Virgo partial solar eclipse by showing up in new and uncomfortable ways in your 6th house. This is the house of daily grind. This is the house of the things we have to take care of every single day just to keep up. It's our daily work and devotion. It's also our relationship to our lifestyle and daily habits, and our relationship to our bodies. So how is your body doing? How are you prioritizing your body? Is there any sort of burnout that's been happening? And how is this related to this major new beginning that you're stepping into in matters of the 11th house? That Virgo partial solar eclipse, it's waking you up to what's ready to change, whether it's letting go of old doom and gloom, projections into the future, any sort of hopes or wishes that are changing for you, that are reaching this threshold of stepping into something different. It could also be connecting to your sense of friends and networks. Like, who are the people that support you, that feel like benefactors for you to pursue your ambitions, your biggest dreams? Are you connecting to the place of good spirit? What keeps you in good spirits? And how is what you're waking up to, the shadow work that you're doing, the major turning points you're having in this area, also empowering you to claim your power, to be like, oh, I have the power to participate, to bring these dreams into reality, to lead my pack of wolves, so to speak. Like, you're a Scorpio rising, right? Everyone wants to follow your magnetism, wants to see you take the lead. And how are you ready to take the lead in new ways? And how does that actually require you to maybe just do less in your day-to-day, taking it all on yourself and put yourself first? You have an Aries 6th house. Are you putting yourself first in your day-to-day, on your daily habits and your systems and your structures? How can you show up differently that's uncomfortable, but represents what this new version of you, who really believes in that future, these hopes and these wishes, is ready to show up? And Scorpio Rising, you're leveraging the power, the major turning point of reclaiming a sense of personal power with yourself. These squares from Mars in Scorpio to Pluto and now Mercury in Scorpio, they are deepening your personal awareness of what you personally have to bring to the table. What kind of person are you owning and identifying yourself as? Are you reclaiming your sense of self in your life in a new way? There's this major turning point that's asking you to take yourself more seriously, your self-care more seriously. So what turning point, what power are you reclaiming, or what energy draining things are you finally ready to shed that is resourcing your ability to show up in these new uncomfortable ways in matters of the 6th house, of your daily work and devotions, of taking care of your body, prioritizing your body, and listening to your body? So this is your full moon horoscope, Scorpio. Let's go ahead, let's pull your tarot card. All right, Scorpio Rising. Interesting, a card jumped out and it jumped out sideways. So it's not reversed and it's not upright. And the card is the Hermit card. This to me is speaking to so much of that connection between your 4th house with Pluto in your 4th house now, and then also these major turning points with the Scorpio planets in your 1st house. This is about going within. This is about taking that time to retreat away from the world in order to reconnect to that light, that energy, that power within. And the more that you tap into that sanctuary of knowing, that deep instinct, that power that lives within you, the more you resource that and follow that as your guide, the more you show up also as this wisdom holder, wisdom carrier, to really lead a movement or to lead people into a direction through the darkness. We can't follow you through the darkness if you're not recharging your light before you're trying to charge us through the darkness. Scorpio Rising, this is about really giving yourself that balance to say, sometimes I have to step away so I can recharge that light. I don't need to persevere and endure and be the light for everybody else in the darkness. And actually, it's impossible for me to do that unless I go and recharge myself. And then also, stop hiding the wisdom you do have. Hold that lantern up high. And those who are available and are willing and ready to receive that wisdom, that guidance, let them come. Let them come to your light. Come back to that magnetizing power that you're naturally born with. Own your wisdom. Tell me, how is it feeling, Scorpio Rising? How are you feeling on this Aries full moon, this major turning point during these eclipse seasons? What about this reading resonated? Please comment below. I would love to hear. What is your uncomfortable action you're going to take? What is that change or that power you're going to reclaim by showing up differently when it comes to your day-to-day, your self-care, putting yourself first? All right, that brings us to Sagittarius Rising. The Aries Full Moon for you, it is asking you to come forward, to take some uncomfortable, new, bold action in your 5th house. What is it that this Virgo partial solar eclipse is bringing to the surface? What shadows are you starting to see? That is hard truths, these old ways of identifying yourself in matters of your 10th house of career, of leadership, of vocation, the things that you're known for in our public arena by the world. What is it that the Virgo eclipse is showing you or revealing to you is outdated? It's time to bring something to a close here, because you can sense that there is this major new beginning calling you forward, but it's requiring you to admit there is a different version of you that's required, a different sense of ownership and identification that needs you to show up in order for the major new beginnings to happen. And the way that you prove that you're ready and you want and can say yes to those major new beginnings is by taking that uncomfortable action in matters of your 5th house of creativity, of pleasure and pleasure seeking. This is the place of our hobbies. This is the place of our joy. This is the place of our creative self-expression. Anything in the 5th house has to come from this place from within, and just the process of connecting to that feeling of ourselves and that joy, that authenticity, and bringing it out into form, whether it's a creative project, it could also be through children. But there's something that you're ready to claim, a new way of showing up in relationship to these matters of the 5th house. That is how you can prove to yourself that you're also ready for the major new beginnings on the career front. So, Sag, maybe this means you're ready to show up in relationship to having fun, finally, in a new way. Is there a whole new version of fun that's calling you forward? Is there a new version of committing to your creative process that could further inform and resource your changes, your growth, the evolution that wants to happen in your 10th house of career? For Sag, you've recently turned this corner with Mars entering into Scorpio and squaring Pluto, and now Mercury here, giving an even deeper understanding and awareness to how you've been giving your power away, or how you're ready to reclaim your power, and matters related to the 12th house. So how are you stepping into a greater sense of personal power in relationship to this place of stepping away? The 12th house has to do with how we relate to closures and endings. It's the place of retreat, of solitude. It can also be the place of isolation or self-undoing. Some of those hidden patterns, hidden unconscious beliefs are blind spots, and where we show up in these unconscious ways that are familiar or old that actually take us off track of the direction we're trying to go. Is there something you've been investing in? Like maybe you started going to therapy. Maybe you started a new personal daily practice where you're doing more of that self-reflection, or you're taking that step away from the everyday. Now that you're reclaiming that power, that is your resource. You're claiming that self-reflection, that self-awareness, and that is allowing you to establish new patterns with your 5th house of pleasure, with creativity. Also, reclaiming your power to step away, reclaiming your relationship to solitude, to rest. All right, Sag, let's pull your card. So 2 cards came out. You've got the Death card reversed, and you've got the Ace of Wands upright to follow. I mean, I don't know of a better card pull that I've had so far in today's readings. The Death card is one of the best cards in the tarot because it represents change, transformation. It is that threshold of new beginnings. When it comes out reversed, it's telling us that you are resisting some sort of ending, some sort of closure. If you can let the Death card transform and open this space, like open the space for the new, you get one of the best cards in the entire deck. You get this Ace of Wands upright. It's literally the hand of spirit handing this wand with sprouts. It has all of this potential. It just needs to be planted somewhere. It needs to be put in a place to grow. It is the pure inspiration and creative potential. It is the spark of the match that can light every candle or every fire. So the second that you're willing to enter into this transitional space in between by moving this death card upright, surrendering the endings, like this idea of what is fun. And also it feels like there's also some idea that career isn't fun. Is that a thing for you? Are you thinking this Virgo 10th house is boring, it's draining, I don't really care about that? But what if it could be really fun to pursue a career, a legacy? What if that could actually feed into your 5th house as well? What if they could actually be connected? Remember, we talked about in the very beginning of this episode, there's this Antisha relationship between your career and your 5th house. There is this secret hidden connection happening where they do work together. So what if you let go of whatever it's always been, let it go, so that this new idea, this new life, this new energy, this new creativity, maybe even this new career path can open up. I love this for you, Sag. How are you feeling? What's resonating? How are you feeling at the time of this full moon? What about these horoscopes? Are you really resonating or it's hitting home? Comment below. Tell me where you're at. Tell me what's hitting. Tell me what it is that you're ready to let go, or the thing you recognize you're scared to let go. It's all welcome here. Comment below. And that brings us into our Capricorns. So Capricorn and Capricorn Rising, it's time for your horoscope. This Aries full moon is calling for you to take uncomfortable, bold, new action in your 4th house of foundations, your inner sanctuary, the place that you call home, the place within yourself that you come home to. What is your definition of internal security? How do you relate to the development, the cultivation, and the container of a sense of emotional security and home within yourself? It's also related to taking uncomfortable new action, showing up as a new version of yourself, and relationship to 4th house relationships of family. So relationships with your parents, or maybe even relationships with your ancestral karma, maybe breaking some long-standing patterns in lineage cycles, or any of those long-standing patterns of the family dynamics that you come from. This is the moment that's saying, if you allow yourself to show up in a way that you know you're ready for, but there's a little bit of discomfort because you've never really done this before, this is where you really prove that you're ready for these major new beginnings. Is there a distance, a journey, a calling, a destination that's farther than you previously wanted to let yourself admit that you wanted to travel, that you want to arrive to? Maybe for yourself, maybe for your legacy, maybe for your family. But this Virgo partial solar eclipse, it's showing you something. It's unraveling and bringing something to the surface. A hard truth that you can't deny. You are ready so much to say, yes, I'm all in. I'm ready to just finally let go of any baggage preventing me from going the distance, of giving myself a chance to see it all the way through. And the way that you prove that to yourself, the way you follow through with the new awareness and clarity from that eclipse, is by taking that new uncomfortable action in your Aries 4th house. So what is that for you, Capricorn and Capricorn Rising? What is that uncomfortable action? What is the ancestral karma that you're waking up to being ready, even if it's uncomfortable, you're gonna do it different? And Capricorn, you just took this major turning point. You just tapped into a whole new level of reclaiming your power in relationship to themes of your 11th house. This has to do with your hopes, your wishes, your ambitions for the future, But it also has to do with your friends, your allies, your social networks. If you're somebody who has an audience, it has to do with your audience. What have you tapped into? What corner have you turned, and how is that empowering you to feel more resourced? Almost like this accountability to say, not only am I capable and resourced and supported, not only am I not alone, I've got a crowd, I've got a cheerleader squad, I've got a whole network, I've got a whole spirit team. And that's not only encouraging me, but it's also holding me accountable to say, I am so ready and I am so capable, and I'm gonna follow through. I'm gonna show up for myself and follow through in these new, uncomfortable on some level ways related to that fourth house. All right, Cap, let's pull your card. You got the Ace of Pentacles reversed. To me, this feels like you're learning to trust an entirely new foundation of security. The more you're willing to say, I'm willing to start over, or I'm willing to start something new, I'm willing to start my new foundation in my new way, I'm willing to trust this Pluto and Aquarius transit is really going to deepen my inner reservoir of internal resourcing. The more you're willing to not hold yourself back by a grip of feeling like you're falling back, the more you're going to get this golden coin and this opportunity to really start something that has so much potential. Every single card of potential within this suit of pentacles lives in this card. And there's some offering hand of spirit that is literally reaching out, trying to give this to you. But it can't give it to you if you don't have a fertile, open space to plant it in. So what can you release? What can you uproot? What can you let go of? What space can you clear in order to really intentionally seed these new beginnings, knowing that if you plant them and you care for them the way that we know you will, responsible Caps, like we know you're gonna see it all the way through. And be willing to let go whatever it was that you saw through to this point. Like, it's okay. You did great. But there's a greater sense of greatness waiting for you. And you just have to give yourself permission to kind of start from scratch. Comment below. Tell me if you're a Capricorn Rising and what's coming up for you, where you're at right now as you're listening to these horoscopes. And then that takes us into our Aquarius. Aquarius and Aquarius Rising. This Aries Full Moon is illuminating this opportunity for you to show up in a completely new way, to take some uncomfortable, bold action in the area of your third house of local community, your neighborhood, your daily rhythms and rituals, the relationships with your siblings or peers. So what is it, Aquarius Rising? What is this new uncomfortable way? How could you adjust your daily rhythms, your daily routines? What could you remove from your schedule that feels really uncomfortable? But it also feels aligned with the clarity that you've been receiving regarding the Virgo partial solar eclipse that activated your 8th house. So there's something that you've been looking at. There is a hard truth that's been uncovered that you've been asked to integrate, to say, okay, I realize that I can't carry this sense of self with me, the sense of self that was engaging and agreeing to these terms of agreement in these exchanges, in these collaborations. It is the very thing that is keeping me from moving forward in this new major beginning and these new plot lines of my life that I've been calling in, I've been working towards. And how is it that you can prove that you're ready for this new standard of contract, this new standard of agreement and exchange with others by showing up in some sort of uncomfortable new way in your local environment, in your local neighborhood? What are some new local communities, circles of people, networks of peers that you could put yourself out there, you could introduce yourself to? You could introduce yourself in a new, uncomfortable way. It's like There's something about the way you carry yourself moment to moment, day to day, in the everyday, in the marketplace. There's something about showing up in an uncomfortable way. Maybe you even just start wearing something that wouldn't be something you would normally wear. I love this. And I also love, Aquarius Rising, that the secret resource you have that if you tap into, it's going to support you even more to show up and act these courageous, new, uncomfortable changes, these new kind of like revealings of self, is by leveraging the major turning points you've had around reclaiming your power in the sphere of your 10th house, your career, your vocation, your legacy. You've had some sort of major turning point where you've reclaimed a sense of leadership, a sense of power, a sense of ownership, a sense of authority around what it is that you do and what you should be recognized for. What is it that you've allowed yourself to release that has been life draining or draining your ability to feel confident about what it is that you're recognized for, what it is that you're doing in the world? And how is that a secret hidden resource, this really powerful negotiation opportunity to stand up, to leverage, and to say, yeah, this is what I do in the world. And there's a way that you talk about it, and there's a way that you own it in your everyday. And that's actually the superpower. That's actually the uncomfortable action. It's in the everyday, it's in the mundane, it's in the marketplace. Aquarius, honestly, out of all of the horoscopes I've done, yours sounds the most fun. I'm the most jealous of yours. Let's go ahead and pull your card. So we've got the World reversed and the Knight of Cups reversed. Interesting. Aquarius Rising, this feels like there's some sort of completion point that you aren't allowing yourself to reach or to acknowledge and move on from. Like, what is it that you've come full circle? You have done the full journey of life. You almost feel like you've lived lifetimes doing something else. But how do you bring it to a close? How do you actually validate and recognize and feel good? Feel a sense of validation and confirmation of what you've completed. And then with the Knight of Cups reversed, this feels like a fear of committing to your emotional convictions. It's a fear of your emotional intelligence, your emotional impulses. Is there some sort of baggage that you're still carrying around emotions in general, around allowing your emotions to lead you? The Knight always brings this mature movement in the progression of the tarot. And in the Cups, it has to do with this momentum and this progression through our relationships, our emotions, our inspiration, our imagination. So Aquarius, this is about tapping into more of the more sensitive feminine qualities of life, of yourself. This is about trusting that to take more of the lead, letting vulnerability take more of the lead, or maybe allowing a knight to arrive, a partnership to arrive, an emotional connection that could guide you forward, but it's going to require you to trust the vulnerability of emotional connection. Comment below, Aquarius, how are you feeling during this Aries full moon? Tell me what resonated. Tell me what it is that you're ready to do different. You're ready to show up. You're waking up to these major new beginnings. I'd love to hear. Okay, Pisces and Pisces rising, this Aries full moon is calling you forward. It is asking you to show up in a way that might be uncomfortable, it might be new, but that you know on some level you're ready for in your second house, related to your connection to your sense of livelihood, your sense of resources, your ability to feel connected to what it is that you bring to the table that you can depend on. It's also depending on the resources of your own instincts, your own ability to trust yourself. You have an Aries second house. So Pisces rising, this is all connected, and this is all inviting this new way of showing up, this uncomfortable new action related to this Virgo partial solar eclipse the shadows that have been uncovered, the revelation of what's still maybe holding you back, what old patterns, what old sense of self is ready to really either be integrated in a new way or released and shed to really bring closure related to matters of your seventh house. So this has to do with your partnerships, your one-on-one dynamics, your one-on-one commitments. What is it that this Virgo partial solar eclipse is showing is a barrier to you stepping into these major new beginnings, these major plot line changes, this new story arc of your life and of yourself? There's something here where you integrate that shadow work of the eclipse into taking this uncomfortable action, into owning your worth in this new way, into claiming in any kind of relationship, any kind of conversation, any kind of negotiation to say, yeah, this is what I bring to the table. I own that. And Pisces, you've just recently turned a major corner in reclaiming even more power and relationship to themes of your ninth house. There is this secret resource that if you tap into, it's going to support you to show up, to take these new actions, these uncomfortable ways of owning your worth, owning your value. If you own the power you're reclaiming related to ninth house matters of teaching, of the wisdom you have to share with others, what is the place of mastery that you're no longer denying your sense of power? This could also be a sense of releasing anything that was detracting or draining from your ability to really claim that deep sense of personal calling. What is the long-term journey, that calling, that destination that feels like it's calling you and you're finally ready on a deeper level to own, to empower yourself, to say, yes, this is calling me for a reason, and I'm ready to answer that call on a deeper level. I'm not going to shy away from the wisdom that I have to share with the world. You're reclaiming your power of committing to that ninth house long-term journey, that ability to say, I don't care how long it takes. I don't care what I have to endure and overcome. I'm willing to commit. I'm going to follow through and persevere no matter what. And that is empowering you to leverage this new sense of confidence and your value and your ability to resource yourself and to know that you will be resourced when you fully commit the way that you're being ready and called to commit to. All right, Pisces Rising, let's pull your card for this Aries full moon. 3 cards came out and they all came out upright for you. We've got the Devil upright. We've got the Wheel of Fortune upright, and then we've got the 9 of Cups upright. So what I love about this is the progression. First of all, I also love that it's all upright. This is showing that this Virgo solar eclipse, you are fearlessly confronting these unhealthy relationship contracts, these unhealthy patterns of attachment, these things that are so-called lovers, but are actually chains that bind you and keep you and prevent you from living a more authentic, whole, free, full life. So you're confronting something that's amazing. That's so awesome. And you're so boldly doing that. It's leading to this karmic fated Wheel of Fortune. This is the Jupiter card. It came out upright. So there's something that's happening for you, Pisces Rising, where you need to lean back and trust the natural flow, the natural karmic flow, the turning of that wheel that will be the actual consequence of you showing up with so much integrity to these things you're confronting in this Devil card. This reminds me of when I talked about the Mars square Pluto transit in the Virgo solar eclipse video, and I talked about how your integrity will speak for itself. The long-term consequences, the karmic ripenings of your choices made from integrity, they will speak for themselves. In Pisces Rising, it feels like they're speaking. And they're speaking for themselves and they're speaking for you in positive ways, because then you get the 9 of Cups upright. This is like the wish come true card. So Pisces Rising, this is about truly, truly, truly acknowledging that you are doing the work. It is only a matter of time for that to be shown, for that wheel to turn. And your job is to sit back and allow yourself to receive the satisfaction, the peace, the joy, the fulfillment of all of that work. Let yourself receive that and feel a sense of pride in that, a sense of stillness and a sense of pride and satisfaction. Wow, what a beautiful reading. Definitely not something that you didn't work for, Pisces Rising. So congratulations. If you relate to this, I'd love to hear. Pisces, comment below. Where are you at? How are you feeling at this Aries full moon? I'd love to hear. And that brings us to the end of all of our rising sign horoscopes and our tarot cards. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who joined me for today's episode of Cozy with the Cosmos. I will be here next Thursday, and we will cover the astrology forecast for the final week of this Virgo partial solar eclipse lunar cycle. It is a little bit of a major turning point, and it's also turning the corner in the direction of one of my favorite lunar cycles of 2025. I keep calling it the cycle that has been worth the wait, worth waiting for, worth working towards. So just know that Libra new moon, it's right around the corner. And of course, if you're interested in any of my offerings, including my one-on-one astrology readings, I also do custom Spotify playlists curated to the energy and the transits of each lunar cycle. And I make a written post on social media platforms of Instagram and TikTok. Everything I offer, it's all linked below. Feel free to reach out to me with any personal questions about any of those offerings or anything that we talk about at any time on this channel. I appreciate everybody so much for being here. Thanks for getting cozy. Thanks for talking cosmos. My name is Sarah Posh, and I will see you next week.